What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. I wanted to dip back into the PTR patch notes and give my opinions line by line of what I think of the upcoming changes. Now, first off, before we move any farther, I agree with you, y'all. The game needs more content. However, this is not the content update. This is a quality of life and balance update based off of our feedback, so I'm giving my opinions on what is coming to the game right away, not what I think should come to the game later down the road. Let's start things right off with the Siren Rework. The Siren Rework is quite interesting. It actually makes you rethink some of your builds a little bit, as Sirens will take out your defenses if you're not careful. So, I mean, as the Siren is now, I kind of enjoy it. I think the Siren now is a enemy that can be countered via a tower defense type strategy, and that is what I think most people wanted. Now, changing enemy elemental resistance. I've mentioned this one before on stream. I've got mixed emotions on this one. Now, to start things off, I've got no real problem with it. Having enemy elemental resistance is lowered from 100% to 75%. It doesn't really bother me that much. I don't really care. My only concern here is I feel like it takes away a strategy element of the game that's directly from Dungeon Defenders 1, and I feel like it might dumb the game down a little bit, as I think a lot of people won't even realize elemental resistance is a thing, and they're just going to think some mobs are tougher than others. Item culling changes. This is definitely a good change. I still think there's some issues with, like, getting swords to drop if you're playing actively on a rogue. There's still some weird things with the inventory itself and the drops themselves. However, I do feel like this is a pretty solid change and a step in the right direction. New fusion pets. Yes, please. More and more and more. Thank you. So, I mean, what more can I say? You know, more fusion pets are just something else to farm. It adds something good to the game. Give us all the fusion pets. Love them. The more the merrier. Transmogs. Now, this one I was kind of surprised. It's got a little bit of mixed emotions, but I personally think this is just brilliant. I mean, this is something people have been asking for ever since Transmogs came into the game. It was said that no, it's not going to happen, and here it is. So, I mean, pet transmogs are absolutely awesome. I feel this adds just a lot of love to the game itself and gives us the ability to use whatever pet we want that is the most effective. However, give that pet the skin of something else. I just think that is an awesome, awesome addition that was completely unexpected in this particular update. Okay, now let's go on down. We'll talk about the Shrooming Pit here in a minute. The Smart Upgrade and Repair. The Smart Upgrade and Repair is really, really good compared to what was in the game. Now, it's not Dungeon Defenders 1 level, however, it is still quite nice. For anyone that's playing on the PTR that has been having trouble with this, remember, don't target something. Go up to your stack of auras and traps and target right next to them without one of the auras or traps directly targeted, and just spam your upgrades or your repairs, and it will just click through everything. So this is, without a doubt, a huge step forward and definitely a nice change when it comes to traps and aura stacks particularly. Now, moving on to tower balance, there's a lot of mixed things here. I guess we should start with, you know, it's not listed on here as a balance change. It's listed up top as a, where is it? As a feature. I guess let's just go through the features. Pet Transmog we hit first. Ripted enemies now drop fusion gear. This particular one, a lot of people have asked for. I think a lot of people were caught off guard by it. But remember, gear that drops on the ground is not going to be the same quality as gear that drops from the chest, or have the potential ceiling of quality of the gear that drops from the chest. So this is exactly as was expected for me personally. I think people expected 400 upgrade, all 4 builder stats items to be thrown on the ground. That's not what you're going to find on the ground, because that's not what you find on the ground normally when you're playing the game and it's non-rifted mode. So remember, the qualities are going to be similar to what you currently find. You're going to find some junk. You're going to find some decent pieces. However, the best stuff in the game is going to come from the chest. Now, this is a huge step forward for someone that's breaking into Rifted mode. You're going to be able to put together some starter Rifted sets or fusion sets way quicker with the fusion gear dropping on the ground. The Shroomy Pit. The Shroomy Pit is just pure joy now, no doubt about it. It feels like it's a little bit underwhelming. Remember, it's not a it's a fodder targeting defense, so it's not for those big meaty enemies. It's for clearing packs. So spamming Shroomies is not going to be a good idea, just like spamming any other fodder defense would not be a good idea. However, adding a Shroomie into the mix, it's cheap, it's fun, and it's blowing stuff up really well. So the Shroomy Pit and its launched projectile is definitely a nice change. I already hit on the smart upgrade and repair. Let's jump down to tower balance. Now, all of the squires, or all of the blockades in the game got a little buff. This buff is nice through the early game. However, this buff does nothing for endgame. Having a little health increase on a spike blockade in Rifted Massacre mode, even with a strength drain aura, a fusion strength drain aura, and a fusion buff beam, your spike blockades are still just going to get smoked really quick. So this, it was a step for making walls effective. However, it was just not an effective step as far as end game goes. The Harpoon Turrets. The Harpoon Turrets are really close now. Really close to being good. Now their damage was increased and the projectile is no longer destroyed by map geometry. Now what that means is the Harpoon Turret can't shoot through a wall because it's not going to target the enemy on the other side of the wall. However, if it's close to an edge where it can target the enemy, instead of that projectile having the chance of getting caught on the edge, it's going to go through those items. This was a really nice change, and the Harpoon Turret is super effective through like insane mode and nightmare mode, through the majority of massacre mode. When you get to the very end of massacre mode with the Lycan King bonus waves or doing the keep, the Harpoon just can't quite keep up in comparison to other defenses. The Bouncer Blockade falls into that wall area. It's just not enough. The reduction in DU, the health increase, not enough to make it viable in end game. It's really good early game. Now for the Bouncer Blockade and your Spinny Boy there, the additional health made it even better than it was before at flyer lanes. So, you know, it's a really good flyer lane defense for 1 DU. The Bowling Ball Turret, I mean, do we even go there? The Bowling Ball Turret, in my opinion, needs a complete rework. It's just a bit disappointing compared to the Bowling Ball Turret for Dungeon Defenders 1 or the Cannonball from DD2. It just doesn't match up with either of those. Traps have come a super long way. I'm going to lump these together: Explosive Trap, Inferno Trap, and Thunder Spike Trap. You still can't get down to the caps on a lot of these traps. However, they are much more effective now. Now, they were usable before. They were right on the verge of being good before, and their damage was tweaked up, their range was tweaked up, and their rate was tweaked up, which definitely helped all of those defenses. Spawn kills or trap stacks are definitely effectively being used currently on the PTR. Elemental Barrier, Blocking Field, and Roots of Purity all fall into the same category as those blockades. Now, having a little more health on the Roots of Purity is nice. You don't have to worry about your roots getting destroyed and your, wisps or your sludge or whatever being made ineffective. So, it was nice on the Roots of Purity. For the other blockades, as I said, it makes they're good early game. They're not late game. So it's one of those things. I think it's going to be a tough balancing act with the current state of the difficulty scaling, where if you make it so that it's usable in end game, it might be just broken OP in early game. So it's going to be a fine balancing act there on getting those blockade type defenses squared away. Taking a look at quality of life. The defense range indicators, the new labels, are quite nice. The Sell All hotkey is an awesome thing. Force Ready up on consoles. Of course, you all are going to absolutely love that. Transmog items can no longer be attained, but will now be hidden on the Transmog UI. Gameplay option to toggle the centered camera perspective view. It's kind of weird. In DDGR, I actually like it. In DDA, I didn't really care for it. I know a lot of people asked for this. However, I ended up going back to the default view right away. Irradiate no longer proccing on target dummies. Of course, we were getting fake DPS numbers before. Now, without Irradiate in the mix, we're going to get some true DPS numbers. For those playing the PTR, a lot of people said, oh, my damage got nerfed. No, your damage didn't get nerfed. It's just your damage was showing ridiculously blown out values from Irradiate on the target dummies before. So now we get to see a little more bit of a true DPS for tweaking and fine-tuning our builds while in the tavern. The entitlements no longer give items, but unlock the Transmog. I think this is a good thing. Items that you can't sell or can't trade are just items that fill your inventory, right? So definitely a nice change there. Updated item effect descriptions, which was a little more clarity on the tooltips. Updated stabilities item effect description to let people know what it actually is, since a lot of folks were confused on stability. And then there's some bug fixes in the game. As far as standouts to what is there, I would have to say the best things added to the game in the PTR, in my personal opinion, are going to be the pet transmogs. The pet transmogs were awesome. Additionally, the smart upgrade and repair. I do feel like they did a really good job on that. It takes a second to get used to, but once you get used to it, it is just absolutely awesome. As far as tower balances, I think traps were made a lot closer to being super effective through all aspects of the game than any other defense with the tower balance changes. I think the Harpoon Turret is really close, but I think we're going to have that balancing act there as well now, where if you make it so it's viable in the toughest areas of Massacre, then it might be a little bit broken OP in earlier stages of the game. So I think the Harpoons are going to be a bit of a balancing act as well through the future of these changes in DDA and what is to come. So let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm excited for a content update too, y'all. But this is what we got, looking at what's coming and giving my opinions on that. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.